Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Gentlemen, and the like 6% of you who are ladies, then ladies and gentlemen. Boys, all right? Let's go. The Animated History of England, Part 1, Swibney. I don't know why I keep yawning. I'm yawning. I'm honestly not that tired. Let's get right into it. If you're new to the channel, my name's Connor. Hello. Nice to meet you, sir or madam. I like to learn about history through YouTube recommendations. You guys have been great at it so far. The original link to this video will be at the top description below, like always. Always got to give credit to the people who do the hard work and make these great videos. And right below that, you can see it without even clicking the show more on the description, will be the link to the Discord. All you got to do is click on that. It'll send you right there. Love to have you. Pull up a chair. I guess I am a little tired. I'm waking up, though. I got my coffee. And my not-so-coffee. Let's go. If you are not ready to learn, anyone, there's the door. Get the hell out. No one wants you here. You're in the wrong class. Go to arts and crafts or gym or wood shop, where you belong, home ec. Or just chill, that's fine too. Let's go. The British. By the way, you British are now more than, are substantially the largest subscriber base and viewer base on my channel. So I know I'm going to have the opportunity to piss a lot of you off and annoy you out throughout this video. I'm joking. I'm ready to learn. Let's do it. All right, let's go. All you Brits. You call us Yanks, I guess. What do we call you? Brits? We have to have a cooler name. Redcoats? I don't know. We need to come up. I'll come up with one.
This episode is supported by CuriosityStream. Use the URL curiositystream.com/Sweeney.
Sorry, Oh, Sweeney? Is that how you say it? I've been saying Swibney. Sweeney. CuriosityStream, Raid Shadow Legends, NordVPN. They must advertise on 99%, those three collectively, of like all YouTube videos.
And use the code Sweeney
Sponsored.
for 1 month free. A soldier peers through the brush of the forest to the camp of the Anglo-Saxons on Baden Hill. On his patrol, he notices a wandering band of
Robin
heathens
Hood?
foraging for food.
Viking?
He stays hidden in the undergrowth and quietly nocks an arrow. He recalls his king, a nobleman of Britain, sound of mind and a warrior for his god, who carried a cross on his back for 3 days as a sign of his piety. The Britons name him Arthur. He clears the sweat from his brow.
Isn't King Arthur... I'm sure this is his point, but isn't King Arthur a myth? Sorry, I'm ruining the fun.
Name him Arthur. He clears the sweat from his brow, draws his bow,
I gotta
and
pee
awaits
already.
the signal from his lord. The small kingdom on these fair isles, within touching distance of the European continent, would have a profound impact on world history. England,
Yeah.
land of the Angles and
Yeah.
Saxons, would conquer their neighbors. and
Maybe the
whole-
most out of the founding of any nation. Don't get too angry. I'm not solid on that, but the founding of England might have more of an impact on the world, on history, even up to today. My voice just cracked. That's great. Than the founding of any other nation. I'm not solid on that. Let me know if you think there's another.
whole world. But land of the Angles and Saxons, would conquer their neighbors and the whole world. But long before there was an England, or even before the Anglo-Saxons arrived, the land was inhabited by a mystical and warrior-like Celtic culture known as the Britons. The Celts had originated as a proto-civilization in the Hallstatt culture before migrating to most of Central and Western Europe. The Celts in Britain became what we now call the Insular Celts, divided...
By the way, technically, this is as much my history as it is any of you Brits at this point, because I asked my... I wasn't sure, like a few months ago, I made a video where I talked about the... I'm pausing, I know, I'm sorry, yeah. A few months ago, I wasn't exactly sure what my heritage was. Obviously, there's a difference between where I'm American, but obviously, almost everyone, unless you're Native American, came from somewhere else, and so I wanted to learn a little bit more. And it turns out my parents and a lot of my aunts and uncles have been doing a lot of the research to see just kind of when, our great whatever came over and when they did. And fast forward if you don't care about what I'm saying right here. I'm just talking about my own ancestry. Just hit the arrow button forward. You want to hurt my feelings? No, you're dead. All right, ready? Do that if you want. But so there is pretty solid evidence on all of my sides except my paternal, my maternal grandfather. So you have I'm saying this, I'm going through this, skip forward if you want. You have your 4 grandparents, and so I'm pretty solid on 3, but 1, we don't know when they came over from England. So they just, my mom's dad's side has just been in America for a really long time, so long to where we can't find a point in that lineage where they crossed over. But he is English, 100% English, and then both of my grandmothers are 100% Irish, and then my other grandfather is English and French. So I'm 50% Irish. And then some weird percentage of French and English in there. I went on long there, but so this is technically my history too, until it reaches that point where
numerous
they left.
tribes, most of whom were retroactively called Britons. Britannia
So I
was
know
the
now.
ancient
Irish,
Greek word
English,
possibly
French.
meaning painted one, proto-civilization in the Hallstatt culture before migrating to most of Central and Western Europe. The Celts in Britain became what we now call the Insular Celts, divided into numerous tribes, most of whom were retroactively called Britons. Britannia was the ancient Greek word possibly meaning painted ones, although the residents of England probably called their land Albion. Rome conquered England over several campaigns, bringing with them fortified Roman-style towns, baths, aqueducts, and circuses, and tons of roads. Roman life thrived in Britain, and the money paid to the stationed legions there contributed greatly to the British economy. Emperor Hadrian's Wall now stands as a symbol of the extent of Roman control over the world, but they did often control areas north of the boundary in modern-day Scotland.
Is that still the boundary where Scotland begins and England ends?
They ruled the area for more than 3 centuries, fighting periphery peoples such as the Picts and Scots in Caledonia, as well as rebellious tribes in the south, most famous of which was Boudica, the Iceni queen who plundered the Roman cities. She is seen as a hero in English folktales and a symbol of British resistance. During the late Roman period, the Romans often enlisted the help of Germanic mercenaries to protect their lands, mostly the Angles, Saxons, and Jutes of modern-day Denmark and Germany. Christianity also arrived during this period due to the interconnectedness of the empire, and St. Albion became the first British martyr killed for his faith. During the very messy Roman collapse, the legions of Rome arrived during this period due to the interconnectedness of the empire, and St. Albion became the first British martyr killed for his faith. During the very messy Roman collapse, the legions of Rome were called out of Britain, and its status as a province would effectively end at this date. The Anglo-Saxons took advantage of the Roman collapse and invaded the island in 449, under the leadership of 2 brothers, Hengist and Horsa. The invasion was a mixed success, but would spur a huge continued migration of the Anglo-Saxons to form the basis of the first foundations of England, as the name literally means land of the Angles. The Britons fought hard against the Germanics, which spurred the first example of British literary fiction in the Tales of King Arthur, a British king probably based on many figures. English history only really begins with the invasion of the Anglo-Saxons, who established small kingdoms. They abandoned Woden, Thor, and Frey and adopted Christianity, establishing St. Augustine as the first archbishop in Canterbury. They did retain
do we know if prior to Roman and even the Viking raids and everything, like, was there any sort of society at all beyond a few outposts with different tribes trading? But was it pretty much was there agriculture? Was there farming, domestication of animals? Did they have some sort of economy or currency? Any kind of wars or kingdoms? I guess it might be just too far to...
Language, which we now call Old English, seen as the first archbishop in Canterbury. They did retain their language, which we now call Old English, a relative of Old Low German, Franconian, and Frisian, and also their top-down rule with the custom of local rulers as appointed by the king, such as earls and aldermen. One kingdom usually held influence over the others, and was sometimes granted the title of overlord. This was first Kent, then East Anglia, and then Northumbria, who entered a period of particularly noteworthy literary and religious prominence called the Northumbrian Golden Age, and then the Mercians, who got rich from plundering Wales. Northumbria and Mercia became rivals, and soon exhausted themselves to a point where the West Saxon Kingdom, or Wessex, came to fill the power vacuum. A notable king was Alfred the Great.
How the hell is Wales not just immediately part of England? I mean, Scotland, you at least, it's pretty far up north, and there's not that long of a border between Scotland and England, and so Scotland can sort of defend itself, and it's a bit further away, but it seems like Wales is just, like, right there. Just, did they put up that much of a resistance? I'm surprised that England didn't just swipe in there and just make that England. As you can tell already, I'm sure I'm very ignorant on this stuff, and I do not claim to be any sort of intellectual or scholar on this stuff.
Religious prominence called the Northumbrian Golden Age, and then the Mercians, who got rich from plundering Wales. Northumbria and Mercia became rivals, and soon exhausted themselves to a point where the West Saxon Kingdom, or Wessex, came to fill the power vacuum. A notable king was Alfred the Great, who reformed Wessex's law, learning, trade policies, and created a standing army. This was mostly done in response to incursions by a brand new threat to the British Isles, the Vikings. The Vikings were Scandinavian cousins of the Anglo-Saxons, who slowly turned from traders to raiders, and who plundered the English coastline of unprotected and wealthy monasteries. The English called them Danes, as most of them were from Denmark, but some were from modern-day Norway as well. These Danes became a massive problem for the now Christian Anglo-Saxon kings and plunged the whole island into chaos. The English generally believed they were a scourge from God and spread fear of the brutality of the pagans.
Were there any I think of nowadays as like mainly Christianity, but Islam in a sense too, of both not so much Judaism, but Islam and Christianity, I feel like have a history of conquering and forcing conversions, or having the approach of like, all right, we need to go in there, spread the faith, get rid of whatever gods or god they have, and incorporating them into our village by any means, sort of. Do the Vikings just have disdain for this kind of stuff, or did they, or any pagans really, try to convert their captors away from Christianity and into their pagan? That's my question. I'm wondering if they pushed the theology, their theology as well.
They were a scourge from God and spread fear of the brutality of the pagans. The Viking Danes would eventually land in Britain at the head of a great heathen army to conquer the island, but we'll come back to this story later. During both the Roman period and the Anglo-Saxon period, the invaders had to contend with the original inhabitants of Britain, the Celts.
I've been there, Stonehenge.
The invaders had to contend with the original inhabitants of Britain, the Celts, and continued to have border wars with these Celts in Scotland, Wales, and Cornwall. These were fierce Iron Age warrior-like people of mystical and enigmatic origin. To find out more about these people and how they arrived in Britain, why not check out this 3-part documentary over on CuriosityStream, posted by the world-renowned Neil Oliver, to follow the content of the Celtic people and their remarkable migration to the British Isles.
Make that
from
money,
their
man.
homeland in ancient Austria. CuriosityStream is the best online best part to Curiosity England's past, and start watching today.
Definitely going to watch the next part. Great channel, awesome channel, great episode. Sorry about some of my ignorance there, or if I was making any jokes that were untasteful, but it's the internet, alright? Love for you guys to join. You know, like if you liked it, dislike if you disliked it, all that stuff. See you guys next time.